So, spoiler season is here, but also not here. I mean, last week we got spoilers from Dominaria United. This week we get some Unfinity spoilers for whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly why all these random spoilers seem to keep coming out, but yeah. Make sure you check out my episode on Magar of the Magic Strings when you get a chance. It's a very exciting new commander. But don't leave just yet, because on this episode, I'm going to be talking about another spoiler and talking about why isn't this card legal. So with all that said, let's jump into it. So, far out, dude. They sounded kind of more like a goat right there. Regardless, far out is an enchantment for 2 and a white, and it says, rather than choose the indicated number of modes for spells and abilities you control, you may choose one or more modes. You can't choose any mode more than once. So this card is very much the kind of card that many players out there in Commander have been waiting for. I mean, modal tribal essentially can be a really exciting thing where you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll cast a spell and it's got a couple different modes, and as long as I've got this kind of a card in play, this brand new enchantment, then I can get every single mode. It's, if you've only got, a choose one for 3 modes, that's triple the value. Choose one for 4 modes, quadruple the value. Even just, a choose one of 2, that's still twice as much value. So yeah, this little 3-mana enchantment can make a massive impact in the right deck. That being said, unfortunately, when it comes to the right deck, well, there's just one little problem with that. Because you see at the very bottom of the card, right in the center right there, where that, hollow stamp usually is, that is, oval in nature. I mean, not in nature, they print it that way regardless, is replaced by a hollow acorn. And I can guarantee that this is going to lead to a lot of confusion when this new set comes out. I believe October is when this is coming out. Nevertheless, I mean, this card has already caused some confusion because this is, again, the type of card that players have been waiting to see for quite some time. And the first time that I saw it read, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, finally, choosing modes, getting all the modes. That's really exciting. And then, that acorn symbol just means essentially, never mind, you might have thought that this was a real card because it reads like a real card. I don't mean real, just like, not those kinds of unset cards that are very silver border in nature that are more so like, yeah, hey, have a friend from outside the game play for you for a turn. Very cool effect, but not, an actual kind of magic effect as it is, whereas this is just working with magic mechanics. So again, you've got to be pretty attentive when actually looking through Unfinity to see what kinds of cards are actually going to be playable in a format like Commander, because again, anything with an acorn is not really legal in any Eternal format, so make sure you are on the lookout for that. I would hate to see some players out there pre-ordering a card like Far Out because they've been so excited for this card, only to find out that it is illegal, and maybe not even finding out until they actually go to an LGS, play it, and then some other player points out to them that, hey, I mean, I know it might not be all that obvious compared to previous silver border cards, but this is basically a silver border card because it has that acorn on it. Now, I believe I read somewhere that Mark Rosewater has actually been trying to get a card like this to actually work in some fashion in Eternal formats. Unfortunately, based, on the rules of Magic, it apparently is not possible to do, and I'm not exactly sure why that is, and if you know exactly why, please let me know in the comments below. I do have a couple of examples of potential reasons why, though, that we'll go through here in a bit. That being said, though, again, the best thing about Commander is that you can play it however you and your playgroup want to play it. And even if you're playing at an LGS, you can always ask ahead of time. Commander is a social format, so just talk. So if you want to play with a card like Far Out in your deck, just discuss it with the other players ahead of time, and if they're okay with that, great. If not, either have a different deck as a backup plan, or have a backup even just for this specific card. Or any other cards, that might not quite be legal in this format, like anything, with an acorn on it, or silver border, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, again, a card in a concept that had a lot of potential, or again, still has a lot of potential if you can play it in your playgroup. I mean, let's just go through some quick examples of why why I really wish a rules manager out there, Wizards would be able to figure something out, that could work with this, or maybe make a commander that works in a similar way to this that actually works within the rule set. I really hope that they can figure a way out to do that. For example, some of the first cards that came to my mind with this kind of a card is a card like Return to Nature and Cryptic Command. Return to Nature is an instant for 1 and a green, and it says choose 1 destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from a graveyard. This is a very flexible removal spell that sees a lot of play. And of course, again, you just get to choose one of those modes, but again, with a card like Far Out in play, you'd get to choose all 3 if you really want to, and yeah, you can destroy 2 things, artifact and enchantment, and exile card from a graveyard just for 2 mana. That is a lot of value. Speaking of which, how about a more expensive card like Cryptic Command, an instant that says choose 2, counter target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponents control, or draw a card. Again, by switching that choose 2 into a choose 1 or more, now you can essentially just you're probably going to pick all of them. I mean, I guess the only one that you probably wouldn't pick would be counter target spell if you're not, utilizing this to counter a spell. But if you are, yeah, you're going to be utilizing all of them. And 2 of those things for 4 mana is a really good deal, but 4 of those things for 4 mana is absurd. So yeah, again, I really hope that at some point they somehow find a way within the rules to make a card like Far Out work. Regardless though, I'm sure there are plenty of groups out there that will be completely fine with utilizing a card like Far Out as long as you ask. And again, if not, make sure you have a backup plan. Regardless, now let's talk about why this kind of a card might not currently work within Magic's rules. So one reason that a modal override might not work might be with cards like Wild Shape and Skin Shifter. And again, just a disclaimer, I am definitely not a Magic judge, so please let me know in the comments below. Regardless, Wild Shape is an instant that says choose 1 until end of turn, target creature you control has base power and toughness, becomes that creature type and gains that ability. A 1/3 turtle hexproof, a 1/5 spider with reach, and a 3/3 elephant with trample. And then in a similar way, there's Skin Shifter, a 1/1 human shaman for 1 and a green that has pay green, choose 1. Until end of turn, it becomes a 4/4 rhino with trample, or a 2/2 bird with flying, or a 0/8 plant. Activate only once each turn. So with these kind of modal spells and abilities, well, there's a reason you can only choose one option, and exactly one option. On Wild Shape, only one of those things can be true. You can't make your creature into either a 1/3 or a 1/5 or a 3/3 all at the same time. It has to be one of those 3 things. And of course, the same is true as Skin Shifter. It can just be one of those 3 things. It cannot be all 3 at the same time. It is not possible. So again, that might be one reason why this kind of modal override might never happen, unfortunately, because of rules. Another example, and again, please comment below if I'm wrong, and this might come with a card like Outlaw's Merriment, an enchantment for 1 red, white. At the beginning for upkeep, choose 1 at random, create a red and white creature token with those characteristics. 3/1 human warrior, trample and haste, 2/1 human cleric with lifelink and haste, or a 1/2 human rogue with haste, and when this creature enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to any target. Again, the question here would be, would a modal override like Far Out actually override the randomness of this? Would you actually just get a pick, choose 1 or more on this instead? I am really just spitballing here, but again, rules lawyers, help me out in the comments below. Thank you. Nevertheless, if it is ever figured out how to make this work within the rules, yeah, essentially all your spells have a free Entwine cost, essentially. And yeah, there are already Entwine cards out there like Journey of Discovery and Rude Awakening, which already see play. Because being able to choose more than one mode is a very powerful thing. Even if you just have 2 options, still getting the other option as well is great. Journey of Discovery is going to let you get 2 basics from your library into your hand, or you can play 2 additional lands this turn. And then Rude Awakening is going to untap all lands you control, and until end of turn, lands you control become 2/2 creatures that are still lands. And again, the Entwine cost for each of these is 2 and a green, so 3 extra mana, but again, with a card like Far Out, that's essentially no cost at all. So for these Entwine cards, it would be basically saving you mana, and for all the other cards, it would be giving you more options than you actually have. Or again, I should say, selecting more options than you can. Obviously, other cards that come to mind are the charm cycles, like, Izzet Charm when it comes to, the 2-color charms, and Sultai Charm when it comes to the 3-color charms. Izzet Charm says choose 1, counter target non-creature spell, its controller pays 2, it deals 2 damage to our creature, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. This card sees a ton of play, and for good reason, and yeah, allowing you to essentially pick all those modes is an absurd amount of value. Speaking of which, Saltite Charm says choose 1 destroy target monocolor creature, destroy target artifact or enchantment, draw 2 cards, and discard a card. Again, for just 3 mana, being able to get all 3 of those modes would be incredibly impactful. Other cards that come to mind are some very flexible wraths with cards like Cleansing Nova, Austere Command, and Merciless Eviction. Cleansing Nova says choose 1 destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts and enchantments. By changing that to choose 1 or more, you can either, again, have that flexibility to take out, either one or the other, or, again, if you need to take out everything, just do so. Austere Command says choose 2 destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, or destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. Again, this card is already extremely flexible, but becomes even more so by making that choose 1 or more instead of just choose 2. You can wipe everything out again except for maybe those small creatures, or again just decide that everything needs to go, or wipe out everything except for artifacts if you're playing an artifact deck, etc, etc, etc. And the efficiency and value really gets turned up in a card like Merciless Eviction. Choose 1, exile artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or planeswalkers. Again, you only get to pick 1 or 4 usually, but again, if you've got that far out, you can pick up to all 4 of them if you need to. Or again, you can pick and choose exactly what you need depending on the situation that you're in. If you've got, a leg up on your opponents when it comes to enchantments, keep the enchantments around. Also, obviously, this works with abilities too, with, cards like Knight of Autumn, Atsushi, the Blazing Sky, and Dread Presence, to name a few. Knight of Autumn has enters battlefield, choose 1, put 2 counters on destroy target artifact or enchantment, or you gain 4 life. So instead of just getting one of these things for 3 mana on a creature, well, you're getting all 3, which is a ton of value. And then a modal death trigger to work with this as well. When it dies, choose 1, exile the top 2 cards of your library until end of your next turn. You may play those cards, create 3 treasure tokens. So getting each of those is obviously a lot more value than just getting 1. And a repeatable trigger like Dread Presence can really help you out as well. It says whenever a swamp enters battlefield and you control, choose 1. You draw a card and lose 1 life, or deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. So obviously, you're probably just going to want to take both of them every single time, being able to ping things and gain life, and draw cards, and yes, lose life, but you're still gaining more than you lost. Now, obviously, it's still nice to have the option to just choose 1 if you have to, but yeah, most of the time, you're going to take all that value. And speaking of value, one final one that I really want to point out is Glorious Sunrise, which has a lot of abilities. Here we go. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Creatures you control get +1 and gain trample until end of turn. Target land gains tap, add green, green, green until end of turn. Draw a card if you control a creature's power 3 or greater. You gain 3 life. So just having one of these effects is nice, but again, having all 4 of these effects is an absurd amount of value. And again, that's on every single combat on your turn. Regardless, again, at the end of the day, this is a very interesting card and one that, again, players have been waiting for such a long time to actually be printed. But again, unfortunately, due to the way that rules work or whatever, unfortunately, it cannot actually exist in Eternal formats. Again, that is why it has the acorn symbol, and make sure that you're on the lookout for cards in Unfinity that either have the acorn symbol or don't have them, because that will instruct you if they are legal in Eternal formats like Commander or not. But again, like I said, I can definitely see this card being the kind of card that players take to the table and ask, hey, is it okay if I play with Far Out in my deck? And again, for a lot of groups out there, a lot of people at LGSs, I can definitely see players saying, sure, why not? That's not a card that, really breaks Magic rules. Okay, I mean, it does technically break Magic rules, but it's not like, yeah, again, like, go grab a random stranger off the street and have them play your deck for you for a turn or whatnot, or force your opponent to go make you lunch or something like that. It's a card that might not, again, work, technically speaking with Magic rules, but it makes sense within the context of a game. But again, before pre-ordering this one, you might want to ask your playgroup ahead of time if it's okay. Regardless, make sure you're staying tuned to this channel for even more exciting episodes, including quick takes and, rules discussions, apparently, coming up. And yeah, as always, thanks again and have a good one.
This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.